When I think of the word engineer, I think of machinery.
I think of a person or a group of people that come together to build something or create something.
Yeah, I think of like cars and engines.
Our engineering practice is calibration of flow meters for the oil and gas industry mainly, chemical injection, flow measurement.
As a tritium plant engineer, I'm lucky that my role is very varied. So part of my job is to understand mechanical and electrical engineering so that I can help upgrade plant systems to get them ready for a big set of fusion experiments using tritium, which is a type of hydrogen, in a few years' time.
So at CCFE, I use my knowledge to precisely control the position of our super hot gases. And we're trying to position the gas to within about a millimetre of a set point.
So my specialism is electrical design and virtual reality programming. So my day-to-day roles generally include CAD design, designing electrical systems, and troubleshooting and problem solving.
The life of an engineer is not necessarily what people think it might be. Like many jobs, it involves meetings, discussions, you sit at a desk at a computer.
Most of our time here is booked to a project, so one day I might be doing one project, and there might be another day where I'm doing 2 or 3 projects. So some days I can be in the workshop all day, and some days I can be typing documents.
But the bits that aren't like other jobs are when you get to go out on the plant sometimes and see the systems that you need to help upgrade. You have to work with a lot of people, so you have to be a good communicator, and it's great if you get along with people because that makes your job easier.
So it's really, really difficult to describe an average day.
So sometimes I'll spend all day talking to people to try and find out about what I need to do, the next part of my job, and how to progress the work I'm doing.
An average day at Lead2Meter doesn't exist. I guess mainly I could say calibration and assembly, which would involve high levels of data analysis and delicate mechanical procedures.
So a typical day can be very varied depending on what's happening that day.
If I could invent anything, it would probably be a jetpack.
I would invent an electroacoustic cello.
It would most probably be an exosuit to help with just kind of everyday life for different sort of people. So exosuits like almost like an artificial body to help with maybe disabled people, or if you have a specialised job that you can't do with a natural human body, the exosuit will help you do it.
To become an engineer, a control engineer, I took A-levels in maths, physics, biology.
I studied physics at university because I wasn't really sure at the time whether I wanted to, which type of engineering I might want to do.
I was torn between joining university and completing an apprenticeship. So I decided to take a bit of time to decide, and I applied for an apprenticeship at Culham, and I was very, very lucky to be accepted.
I didn't find myself settling anywhere until a day that I got a job in a workshop through my dad, actually, who was an engineer in the past, but it was never a route that I'd considered before, and he got me a job in a workshop, and I met some hugely inspiring people who just said, forget your age, go and get an apprenticeship, get your foot in the door somewhere because opportunities are there in engineering, and from that moment I've never looked back.
So the common misconceptions about engineering are, there are so many.
I thought that it was a lot of boring people sat around doing just non-stop maths and boring tasks.
If you Google the term engineer, you see a lot of pictures of men in hard hats, and those two things aren't actually the universal truth of being an engineer.
It's just not true. Anyone can be an engineer.
I want to put it out there that some of the best engineers I've met are women.
There's all kinds of interesting engineering out there. People do engineering of nanotechnology, people do medical engineering. Basically, engineering influences every aspect of our lives.
And it's really great to learn loads of different ways to help day-to-day things get better, so making cars safer and making electrical systems more powerful and more efficient.
The technology that I think we're going to have in the future won't be too eccentric, as in things you see on films like floating cars.
It won't be too dissimilar to the current time, because I think we're kind of reaching a maximum to the technology. However, I think we'll expand our horizons and go to different planets such as Mars.
There's always been that stereotypical like hoverboard, so I probably think like hoverboards and stuff.
I think there'd it's advancing very quickly, so it'd probably be, I don't know, like floating houses or something.
I think the future of engineering is bright. I think that we're going to see things change very, very drastically. Technology is developing at such a rate we can barely keep up with it ourselves.
People not only use their phones and tablets and other devices on a daily basis, in which case we need more engineers to actually program the apps and develop the software of the future.
It's just in the space of a year, things like virtual reality is becoming pivotal in gaming industries and other industries. So everything in engineering is just getting better and more advanced, and eventually it's going to be efficient and day-to-day tasks will be a lot easier.
For anyone considering a career in engineering, I'd say go for it. Be brave. Don't be afraid to do something that you might find interesting.
But if I could do one thing differently, it would have been just get involved straight after school.
Apprenticeships specifically are getting easier and easier to apply for, and the government has just released a huge amount of apprenticeships which employers are entitled to do, and they get given money to basically train people. So if you're interested in engineering or interested in finding out how things work or making a difference or being innovative, then engineering is a great way to go.
So if you ever feel like you're not clever enough, it's not for you, if there's anything that makes you feel like you can't do it, please try and ignore those feelings, because they're just temporary and they're not true. If you want to be an engineer, you can be an engineer.